I'll learn you diversity. Teach me, I teach you like university. Freedom be, freedom be.
What's up, y'all? I'm Dr. CI and I am back in the building. This is episode of our learning series where we're talking about LGBTQIA+ microaggressions. Now, remember, this season is pretty heavy on microaggressions and we want to take time to do each video to teach people because we keep hearing about the prevalency of microaggressions that are happening to people in the world. So y'all make sure to check us out, like and subscribe, turn on your notifications because we're going to be bringing you more and more videos this season. Now let's get to it. What are LGBTQIA+ microaggressions? What that means is that you say a subtle slight or something offensive. It could be conscious or unconscious, and it could be verbal, nonverbal, or behavioral that offends someone's sexual identity or their gender identity, right? Sexuality and gender identity. Both of those are included in that acronym. And so I want to be clear to talk about what are some forms of LGBTQIA+ microaggressions. Let's start first with the use of homophobic and or transphobic language. That is a form of a microaggression. So for example, it is sometimes politically incorrect to call someone a tranny. Unless they tell you that they approve of that, that term is seen as incorrect and offensive in some way, shape, or form. Or when you see a person who identifies as trans and you keep telling them, nah, you're not a woman, you was born a man, you was born cisgender male, you a male. It's not your right to tell someone what the fuck their gender identity or sexuality is. Y'all understand that? And in case you ain't know, yeah, I curse in these videos sometimes. So you might want to make sure that you are in a space where you can listen to me because I tend to not filter myself for people, especially when I'm talking about microaggressions. Know that that comes with this channel and it's just a part of my everyday authenticity. Deal with it. And if you don't like it, you ain't got to watch the video. Now, we've already talked about using homophobic and or transphobic language. Like if you were to call someone the F word, I tend not to say it because I don't speak in that way, right? That's offensive. I have people who I love who identify as LGBTQIA+. I'm super mindful to make sure I don't use any kind of language. And or something that's even more informal and less direct is to say, that's gay. Meaning that you think something is dumb because you automatically associate gayness with dumbness. That is a LGBTQIA+ microaggression. 2, let's talk about your discomfort or disapproval of the LGBTQIA+ lifestyle. I'm gonna associate this with the workplace. There was a time when I was doing a workplace training and I remember seeing an employee in their cubicle and the manager walked up to the employee and told the employee, because the employee was wearing a ring on their left finger. Y'all know the ring finger. I almost flicked y'all off. Did y'all see that? But they was wearing a ring on their left ring finger. And the manager automatically assumed that this man, or male identified person, was married to a woman. And so he said, why don't you bring your wife to, the company party? We never see you bring your wife to the company party. And the man said to him, first of all, I don't have a wife. I have a partner. I'm gay. I'm married to another male identified person. And the manager just stopped and said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Right? And that's what you should do. You should apologize. But that was still a microaggression because you made an assumption based on your lifestyle and your norms on that person's lifestyle and what might be normal to them. And then you put them in an uncomfortable situation to have to correct you for the offensive statement that you made, even though that wasn't your intention. And I want to be clear, nobody gives a shit about your intentions. We care about your outcomes, right? How does it make a person feel? What kind of action does it result in? So you need to apologize, which is what the manager did, to be fair, but that was after the microaggression occurred. Next, let's talk about assumptions of pathology and abnormality. For example, you have the assumption that all people who identify as LGBTQIA+ are promiscuous. And let me be clear about a couple of things. First of all, there's nothing wrong with being promiscuous. You sleep with whoever you want. It is your body. You do what you do. Nobody has the right to judge you. If and when whatever a consequence comes up, if that person makes a decision about their sexuality, you let them have that. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, I'm not talking to parents who have children, etc. I'm speaking more so for adults. And the way that we create promiscuity as a bad thing. Have your own freedom of your sexual liberation and sleep with whoever you want. I'm not judging. But often the association with LGBTQIA+ populations is that when you see that someone identifies as that, you automatically think that they want to sleep around and sleep with whoever, and or you think that they're pedophiles. I don't know why we have gotten into the space of associating gayness with pedophilia. We need to stop doing that, right? But I want y'all to be mindful that we do that, and that is a form of a microaggression. Now, what should you do? Let's move into strategy. Now remember, I said this in the last video when I was talking about gender identity. I'm going to talk about it here too, because remember, gender identity is in the acronym of the LGBTQIA+ population, is to ask someone for their pronouns. What are your pronouns, so that you understand what they are and you refer to them as such. If you're in a workplace, you can put pronouns in your signature on your email, but don't require everybody in your company to do it. And I say that because you don't want to step into a space where you are forcing people to conform. You create the opportunity for people to do it. And for those of you who don't want to put your gender identities in your signatures, I'm not judging you, but get with the program. The times is changing. If you feel like you don't have to identify yourself, you're probably a person who has received awards because you have gender privilege. But I'm saying to you, some people don't. So if you want to be inclusive in the workplace, a best practice is to make sure you include that in your signature. Because think about the fact, when you write to someone, you might refer to them as sir or madam, and that also needs to stop. Use their name. Say, dear such and such, I'm writing you this message, and then you send whatever it is you need to send in the body of the message. But in your greeting, let's keep that associated with a person's name and not so much their gender identity. It's a better practice, it's more inclusive, and you can avoid participating in a microaggression against someone. Another way to address microaggressions, if and when they happen in the moment, is to say, I apologize that what I said was hurtful. In my experience, this is how that has happened. I want to make sure that I never do it to you again. Tell me what it is that I need to say in order to not offend you, right? Because I don't want to put you in a space of being uncomfortable. I'm sorry. Often when we offend people, we go to spaces like, oh, well, I've experienced this too, so I get what it feels like. Nobody wants to hear your story. Don't make that moment about you. It's about the person that you've offended and what you've done. Be quiet, right? And learn how to apologize in a way that is inclusive. Y'all got that? I'm giving y'all some tea today. If you have any questions or you want some resources, make sure to look in the description. We provide resources for you, handouts, links to gender inclusive terms, etc. Share with me in the comments what you've experienced when it comes to LGBTQIA+ microaggressions, whether you experienced it directly, whether you were the offender, and or if you witnessed this happen to somebody else. We want to hear your stories. So share them with us and we'll be in touch. I am Dr. C.I. I am leaving the building. Y'all have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care of yourselves and one another.
Learn me, I'll learn you. Diversity, teach me, I teach.